I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the theme. Every night, got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here I'm screaming. Okay, it's a dream, and I pray as a team. One day, it'll be me. If I want it, then I'll get it. Head down, don't regret it. Push myself to the limit. If I play it, then I win it. I'm just saying, I'm just living for today. For a minute, I don't stay, I just give it. Have no shame, I admit it. Looking to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now. Swear to God, man, I'ma make it soon. Silence all the haters as they see us making moves. I do what I want, so I got nothing to prove. Staying motivated, teaching others what to do. I'm staying focused, my mind is open. They start to notice that I'm in motion. There is no potion, you're not just chosen. It takes devotion to stay composed, man. Never stop, there ain't no time to fall. Try to live, get it up, you got one life to pop. Thinking big, never small, cause you gotta want it all. When you finally get that call, you get ready, take it on. Need a hand out, I already stand out. Starting to advance now, ready to expand now. You don't have a chance now, cause we're in demand now. Make it private brand now, feeling in command now. They're looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me.
Welcome to Unique Prepping. My name is Zach, and the reason why this channel exists is because I want to build a community of prepping, homesteading, freesteading like-minded people who want to learn, grow, and build a beautiful future together. My goal is wanting people to understand that no matter what life throws at you, physical limitations you have, or situation you may encounter, we all can unite and fight for our future generations to come. The reason why I'm so passionate about the future is because I was born into this world dead for 27 minutes, and I believe that when I was unconscious, God retrieved me back into heaven, replaced my abilities to walk and talk normally with the ability to have a powerful brain and heart to build a beautiful community to hold the line and have a freedom that we, as God's children, deserve. Welcome to the channel, and let's learn together. Disclaimer. While this stream is intended for everyone, some views expressed by guests or in comments may not reflect that of the content creator or sponsors. With that said, we welcome your views as a vital part of this community. And now it's time for Unique Prepping's Community Live Stream.
Hey.
Hey, Zach. Hey, you upped your game, buddy. That intro, that's the bomb. That's good stuff right there.
That brought tears to my eyes.
Hey, everybody in chat. Thanks for having us here, Zach. We're looking forward to this conversation. I did a lot of studying. Like I said before, I got notes, so we can cover what you want perfectly.
Good evening, our wonderful community, and welcome to the second installment of Unique Prepping's Community. I'm your producer, host, and brother Unique Prepping, and with me are my co-hosts and our beautiful community members Grumpy and Yoda from Grumpy Acres Farm, and hopefully Nadia from Nadia Knows, and Lord Sterling from Common Censored. In the description down below, I put our community members' channel links. Please go subscribe to them and make this community get even bigger. On tonight's episode, we're going to be discussing how important it is to have mental and physical fitness when it comes to community. But before we begin, how are you guys and gals doing tonight?
We're doing good. We had a good day.
Yeah, it was a very productive day. So I'm trying to get everything ready and prepared for Self-Reliance Festival. We'll be out there next weekend after Easter. So everybody come in. We'll be cooking. We're also going to be speaking, ironically, on a lot of the questions and topics that you sent us to answer tonight. Yeah,
Hey,
good timing.
hey, Zach. A little bit of housekeeping. If the other guests pop in, for some reason my tablet will lose audio. So if that happens, we'll just drop off real quick and come back in. Okay? Well, thank you, Blue Rose.
That's good, and I'm doing good myself, thank you. I just want to start off by saying thank you to the panel for wanting to join me this evening to talk about something that is really dear to my heart, because no matter what life throws at us, no matter what we deal with on a day-to-day basis, our physical and mental well-being is very important for a successful future, and to see someone struggling to be positive, that makes me want to join our community and let them know that they have an impact on life.
Right.
Together, we are so powerful, and that's what this beautiful future needs. Yes, I know that there's things out in this world that are trying to make us as servants to them, like we don't matter. But know what? You people on this panel and those who are listening to this, you mean a lot to me, and I'll do my best to keep building this community like God intended. With that said, do you have any words before we get into the discussion?
Well, I definitely agree with everything that you said. And it's very, very important that we figure out how to unite as like-minded people, because we need each other. No one is going to be able to do 100% of their prepping, 100% of their self-reliance. You need a community. It does take people, but you want to make sure they're like-minded. But you also have to make sure, and we'll talk about this a lot since we're talking about mental health, strength, that kind of thing, about self-checking. And so self-checking is extremely hard, especially for alphas, and whether it be alpha men or women. And so that's very, very important when we get that done. And then also we have to figure out and see where everybody went as to how flexible we can be. Because if you're doing a homestead, there's nothing
I'm pretty
like a
flexible.
plan going wrong.
Pretty flexible.
And you know
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey.
Hey, I'm Lord Sterling. Thanks for having me. Zach, right? Hey, good to see you, buddy.
I'm Grumpy,
Sorry
and this is my lovely bride Yoda. Yeah. Hey,
nice to meet you
Zach,
both.
Zach, I told you that I took notes. I asked Zach for the questions that he wanted to talk, or the topics he wanted to talk about. And today at work, I did some reading and I made some notes. And the one thing I realized while I was compiling all this stuff to talk about was that me personally, I have been really bad at what we're going to talk about, and it's something I need to work on. And
All of us,
as a community here, our community could do better too. So none of us are sitting here talking to the people in the chat and talking to you as experts on the subject. We're just
what we're saying is that we identified, and now we know what we need to do. And there's different things we'll share that we do to just kind of help ourselves self-check, and then help ourselves to make sure that we're have that downtime to actually visit with community members and that kind of thing. So getting to know each other. Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm a minor level prepper myself, so I'm sure you guys are more experienced with all of this stuff than I am. I'll be looking forward to hear what you have to say. And thanks, Zach, for having me. So what's on the agenda first?
Oh yeah.
That's right. Smash that like button, guys.
How many people are in chat? Hit that live chat too. Remember to hit the live chat so you can see everything.
Oh yeah, let me jump over. Where are we broadcasting? On Rumble?
See what? Oh, hey, Zach. You got 10 people out there that are slacking because there are 17 people watching this. There's only 7 likes, and one of them is me.
No way.
So you guys in chat need to get on the ball.
Let me see if I can find the live stream over here. All right, boom, I got us on YouTube. All right, boom, smash that like button. Nice, dude.
Beat it like it's a liberal talking point.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. So what do you guys have on the list?
Well, Zach, you wanna ask your first question? Let's see. It's hard to find community connect with living in a blue state.
Ah,
okay.
Okay, Zach talked about it. I'm gonna pimp it out now. So there is a free speech alternative to Facebook. Oh,
interesting.
She did not turn her phone off.
I did it.
And if it's tag, I'm going to be really upset. She thinks is it? There is a free speech community set up called freesteading.com. And it's free to join. There are some fantastic forums out there. Wouldn't you agree, Zach? Some great information out there. Personally, the best thing about freesteading.com is they have a forum for every single state. And you can go in there and introduce yourself, tell them as much or as little as you want about yourself. And I guarantee you that you will find somebody that is like-minded in your area.
Freesteading.com. I've got it pulled up over here. Yeah, I can see it.
Freesteading.com. And we've actually had people report back that they are actually implementing and working the homestead work days. So it's been great. A lot of people have built community. So
yep.
What state are you guys from?
We're in Kansas, northeast Kansas.
I'm from Missouri, but I live in Kansas.
Nice. And you say Missouri, not Missouri. Is that correct?
Missouri.
He's educated.
Missouri is southern Missouri.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know the deal. I've heard people say both, so figured I'd ask. Well, I had the opportunity. Well, I've got you.
It's the hillbilly, and we love the hillbilly.
We love the hillbilly.
We love the hillbilly.
Nice. We got them up here in Connecticut too. We call them swamp Yankees.
We're
I like that.
Zach's got his thing.
I'm in Colorado.
Oh, Colorado. Nice. Good stuff,
And we just
man.
Zach and I just figured out yesterday that we chewed some of the same dirt out there in southern Colorado.
Nice. I've never been to Colorado. My sister goes every once in a while, though, and loves it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Denver's being hit hard with the illegal migrants, right? 60,000-ish people in the past year or something, I think I read. Just so you guys know, I'm from the podcast Common Censored. So I have another podcast that I host. We just finished and wrapped up for the evening. One of our viewers, Alicia Savage, is from Denver, and she said that they've been hit really hard by that situation. What can you do in a in a mountainous type of environment for prepping that would be advisable under these modern scenarios? What do you guys think?
I actually have family that lives in Estes Park and Glen Haven, and so they are like right in the Rocky Mountains, and a big tourist trap as well. And so they do it, and they do it all day long. So it's a matter of trying to figure out how to forage, make sure that the chickens are done. And we've got videos on this, so if you go back, you can see the interview that we did with them. They make sure that the chicken coop is bear proof. And that had been tested true, and it is bear proof. And then try to figure out they have built community out there, so the cattle is done down in Lyons, and they make sure that they all go back. It's a vet that's down there. He's got the land. They run cattle down there. Everybody does their fair share of work, and then does that. So they've got that going on.
Well,
as far as hogs, you can run hogs in the mountains, no problem. They're pulling those on.
the big thing, the most important thing, and that's kind of what Zach wants to talk about tonight, is community. Especially in an environment like Colorado, where they live in a valley, and they get, in the summertime, they get maybe 6 hours of direct sunlight.
Wow.
The rest is in shadows, and then their growing season
is short.
Their growing season only runs from early May till mid to late August, September timeframe.
But they figured out cold frames, and so they've got several cold frames everywhere, so they're able to grow in that. They've got the greenhouse up. She used to own, she sold it, but she owned the most successful flower shop in Estes Park, and so she was able to take those skills and bring those back home and keep that running. So they're doing great.
Yep.
Nice. They're doing the stratospheric aerosol injections to block the sun. Maybe they should put some kind of mirror silver injections up there to reflect the sun down into the valley for the dark places.
Don't give them any ideas.
Recognizing a lot of people in the chat over here. JJ Vom, Pepe, Blue Rose, Shoemaker, Big Ugly, D, Mama Mac. Good to see you guys. Glad you're here. You guys have any good tips in the chat? I've got a go bag and some storable food and water filters and cooking implements and things like that. But I could be better prepared for sure over here on the Connecticut coast. We haven't, I wouldn't want to be in a city. I'll put it that way.
Joan Kelly, they probably do. If they're up in that area, I mean, you can't swing a dead cat without somebody knowing each other or being related. So this kind of is what it is. So if you knew any Alkires, Rademachers out there, then yeah, that's my family.
Zach wants to do his thing.
Nice.
It's beautiful here, especially my area, but Sterling, we need to build a community and move the government out.
Yeah, that's right. We got to build a real community. Oh man, people are doing that over in Idaho right now, actually building new communities. I got a friend out there who was thinking about doing a podcast, Ida Homesteading, calling it,
Okay.
and they're building whole new communities out there. Pretty cool.
Right.
It'd be good to be able to, go from digital to real world, because I've got lots of digital friends, but I mean,
Right.
Blue, Connecticut, not many options for that type of community out here, unfortunately. Sorry, go ahead, Grumpy.
No. So here's
Yoda.
here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about why community is important. Because the further you are away from the center of power, the more important locality becomes. As an so the further you are away from Washington D.C., the further you are away from the state. Oh, sorry. The further you are away from the state capital, the more important that where your local area becomes, and that's why building community is important. Because it will help insulate you against the stuff that happens at the state capitol and at the federal level.
And it's really interesting
time.
as you build community, you start to get to know the sheriff's department, and so then you realize, is your sheriff a constitutionalist? Is he conservative on the conservative side, or does he tend to be more liberal and side with the state and all of that? We're in a very lucky position that we have a constitutional sheriff, and he's great. He's been great for the community.
Lucky indeed. I'm on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where the Connecticut Sheriff's Department has been completely dismantled. We don't even have sheriffs in Connecticut.
That's crazy to me. And so, it's just one of those things that,
it's nuts, Zach.
The sheriff's department even stood up. I think it was one of the sheriffs in Ohio. He stood up and he was pretty pissed and very upset because Biden wouldn't even give him the time of day. We had 3,800 sheriffs in the United States, and nobody could talk to him and tell him what was going on with these illegal immigrants. And so we see what's happening here. We're on the 75 corridor, and there's a lot of human trafficking coming up and down. And it's bad. And when it starts affecting American citizens to the point that they can't even come out of a Casey's, it's absolutely ridiculous, because you got somebody in a van who's eyeballing them and trying to take their daughters. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And it's a real shame too, because we vacation in Connecticut. We spent a lot of time in Colorado, and both those places are beautiful places with fantastic people in them. But they've been co-opted, and really, you guys' rights are being abused seriously.
Big time. And speaking of sheriffs, people don't understand that sheriffs are a key factor in fighting back against centralized control. They are the highest authority in their county, higher than the governor of the state, higher than the president of the United States. They have the authority to kick out feds. And so, for instance, back in like 2008, 2010, I was following this guy, Sheriff Richard Mack, who was exposing how important sheriffs are around the country and what they can do to combat tyranny against their local communities. Sounds like you're familiar with him as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that the guy from Wisconsin?
No.
I'm not sure. Maybe Florida. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, I think he's down south. But yeah, no, the sheriff's the only one that can tell even the president. No.
Arizona. Yeah, exactly.
They are
Richard
they are the lowest. They are the lowest elected official in the United States that can enforce constitutional law. So that's why they are so important.
Yep, exactly.
And then let's bring that into community. So when you get your community built, that's one of the great things, because then you can start taking over local government. And so that's where we are now in that process and doing that. We have county commissioners that are pretty much.
Don't say take over. We're not taking it over.
Influencing,
okay. Reclaiming, but we're not taking it over.
Influencing. Okay. And so we have county commissioners now.
You could say freeing it almost.
Right.
Right.
And so, it's amazing when you put butts in a seat at a county commissioners meeting, and then 2 days later, you're being pulled over by the owner, who's actually the county commissioner, and being grilled, and he has to explain his position. Or a phone call is made to another community member and is asked, how many of you people have you moved in here? Right. They're worried, and they should be. They absolutely should be.
And
Yep.
and hey, everybody in chat, don't think that you have to have massive amounts of numbers. You know, depending on where you live. We live in a very rural community.
9 butts in a seat made a difference.
And we walked into a city council meeting because even though we live like way out in the country, we're still part of a city proper, you know, a small city, like 150, 200 people.
I don't even think
But
there's that many.
we walked into the city council meeting with 8 people, and we changed the way the city government was behaving. So don't think that you have to have massive amounts of numbers. In fact, the one comment that was made at the city council meeting that we've got 15,000 people in the county.
I don't think it's that much.
But we've got over 10,000 people in the county, and only 12 people show up to a county commissioners meetings. And they made the comment. They literally said, you know, you got 12 people here. I mean, the people do not care. Right?
Right. Literally. Nobody's showing up except the 12 who are going to get to control it all. Take over.
Right. Well, and those 12 people scared them.
Oh yeah. We got a guy, Stryker, who comments on my show, who's into the National Assembly organization. And he talks about how with small numbers, even you can form general assemblies in your local areas and have a big influence on local governments as well.
Right.
I'm not too versed in that whole thing, but it sounds
Zach,
pretty compelling.
What you got, Zach? Zach wants to interrupt. Not interrupt.
Z-Man!
We're running.
I'm tired of the transplants here. I'm literally 90 miles from where Tom Cruise and Oprah have homes.
Oprah
Dang.
has a home in Colorado. Why?
Bet it's got a blue roof.
Probably painted blue too.
Yeah.
Well,
Whole yard, they got blue grass, they got everything.
Well, Zach, when I was a kid, the joke my cousin used to tell was he did not like the Texans because the Texans would come up there and apparently everybody in Texas thinks everybody lives near Denver. So he used to get really mad at the Texans, but now, I mean, the last time we were out there, it was a lot of people from California. A lot of people from Santa Fe were moving up into southern Colorado and bringing their politics with them. And that your state, Zach,
the politics has really taken over. So in Colorado, it's so liberal. Like, we're getting ready to do the Prepper Expo. We got to go speak twice, and then we're taking our vending booth. And so we're going out there.
To Kiowa. We're going to be in Kiowa.
So much red tape that we were jumping through and trying to figure out. And finally, I was like, look, and I told the organizer, I said, this is a Prepper Expo. Do you really expect me to jump through all these hoops? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay.
Well, and that's an excellent point. And I am not advocating breaking the law. Okay, I am not advocating that when I say this. But we need to start doing what's needing to be done. And I'll just leave it at that. You guys can interpret that however you want. But civil disobedience in this country is a proud tradition. And civil disobedience does not mean burning down people's stores. It does not mean pillaging. It means
definitely
fighting against an unjust system.
Right. You don't want to violate the rights of the individuals. Definitely.
Right.
And it's just easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So.
Well, it used to be.
Well, permission costs you money now.
Well, and forgiveness. What's up, Zach?
Hashtag me too.
My fantastic governor actually painted the rainbow on a sidewalk in Denver.
Sounds about right. They're going to be using weather modification to have rainbows flying in the sky soon, Zach. I bet that's next.
I was dying. G found an article. He actually called a friend on it, Spegs Unfiltered, and called a friend on it and said, did you see what LifeStraw did? And we're like, LifeStraw? And so I'm listening to what he was saying, and I was flabbergasted.
What did they do? I've got some life straws.
Livestraw hired a guy named Patty Gonia, and it's the same spokesperson that did North Face ad, and he's a fake woman with boobs and a mustache, and he is pimping Livestraw. So they've done well. It's an obvious case of not knowing your clients, not knowing your customer. You know, it's just like Bud Light thinking Dylan Mulvaney was a good spokesman for frat boy beer. And so, you know, and that's one of the things about exiting the system is starving the beast. As conservatives, we are a very large bloc, and we hold a lot of power in our economy. And the problem is we live in a time when it's very safe.
Big Ugly, that's funny. It's Pat.
Classic.
We live in a time when it's very comfortable and it's very easy to ignore what's going on. So
easier than ever.
Yeah.
No.
With delivery, everything, streaming, everything, video games, you know, anything you could want that it can suck up all your time and keep you distracted and isolated in your little bubble. People don't go to the movies anymore. Everything is, you know, designed to keep you.
And look at how much of that has propaganda added to it. And so now you're just being brainwashed while you're sitting there doing all that crap.
So I'm gonna say this. Dave Kobler, Southern Prepper One. Him and another guy have a company that has prepping stuff, and they have a water filter that's good. That's a good water filter. You've also got Sawyer. So if you're looking for prepping supplies, put your money where your mouth is, and vote with your dollars. All right?
Definitely. One other thing that I have that I thought was probably a good idea, Life Straws, one, but there's also these little like hand pumps that you can get that will filter water from a stream or something to allow you to pump it into jugs or whatever you need. That's another good item to have if you've got like a stream nearby or something like that that you need to filter, and you might not be able to have a fire to purify the water, for instance, you know.
Okay.
And you wonder why they force technology out so fast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Keeping us occupied, for sure. Big time. Bread and circuses.
Yeah, and Joan Kelly, you know, she says she's disappointed in Livestraw. And
Not disappointed in Tyson.
No.
Oh, but she said Tyson too.
No, she said
Tyson
no
chicken,
more either. But she said, I'm disappointed in Livestraw. And so, yeah. And I think they completely, again, missed their market.
Well,
and so it's more hikers. I don't see a transgender hiking. I could be wrong, and people are going to just blow me up.
Here's part of the problem. BlackRock is investing in all these companies, and BlackRock is forcing all the DEI stuff on these companies. And
ESG.
And so a lot of these companies are doing it because they're being forced to. And then you've got these small companies, and I don't know where Livestraw fits in this equation, but you've got these small companies that see this happening, and they go along with it because it's about the dollar. It is.
Big Ugly, Berkey.
Nice. It'll desalinate as well.
I believe so. It like knocks out like a ton. We own a couple Berkeys, and so,
yeah, that's true. Ions, it should do that.
Now listen. If
RO
you
would
want
do it too.
We've got 3 of them. They do one in a 5-gallon. It's plastic, so you want to make sure it's out of the window.
Linda,
right? And then they have a travel one, which is 1.5 gallons. And then we've got our regular system that we do, and that one is 2.5 gallons, something like that.
Big Berkey. Nice.
I'm gonna say this: if you want the best kept secret in the prepping community for water purification, go to airmobileministries.org. Now, this is a $3,000 system.
We just found them this weekend.
We just met them. We just met them this weekend at the Kentucky Sustainable Living Festival. This is by far the best like individual prepping water filtering thing. And
how do you spell it?
Air Mobile Ministries, just like Air Mobile and then ministries.org. It's called The Rescuer. And like I said, it's $3,000.
But it's a whole house system.
Yeah, you could use it as a whole house system. And if you've priced whole house systems, you know that's a
$8,000 to $12,000.
Yeah, that's a fantastic price. They've been around for 20 years, and this is the best kept secret ever. Well,
nice.
As far as
I just found the website.
Yeah, that's our next venture. So
changing lives with life-giving clean water through the power of Christ.
Yeah.
Boom. Airmobile.org as well.
Yeah. So that's another good option right there.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, desalination is key. Think about all the billions of dollars we send overseas to Ukraine and countries all around the planet. And we could be creating giant desalination plants, which we could then use for water to ingest as well as fuel to power HHO vehicles, solving the gas crisis once and for all with just diverting some of those billions into making some desalination plants.
Oh, I have so much on that subject.
I
could go on and on.
So here's what I want to do for tonight. I want to show questions that I have typed out on banners. Then I want to start with the person in the bottom left corner and go counterclockwise so each of us have a chance to get our ideas and thoughts in for each question that is presented, if that's okay? This way it's easier for me to keep the discussion on track and not veer off subject. Thank you. Let's get on to the questions on hand.
It's like chasing
Question number 1. As far as community, why is mental and physical health important?
Ooh. If you're in a disaster type scenario, you got to be prepared to keep your wits about you, first of all, because that will, if you could easily become paranoid or lose focus on what you're doing. If you're in a survival scenario, you can't be expending energy that you need for useless things, for instance. So you gotta make sure you're physically healthy and that you have nutrients and protein available as well as preparing for that type of scenario, because you might need to move, you might need to relocate. There's a bazillion reasons why you need to be physically healthy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so we'll just share a little bit. So we were already prepping and doing all of that. We had a working homestead, and G came home and he sat down on the couch and he said, with teary-eyed, but not tears, but he said, I've been lied to my entire life, and they were going to force him to take the jab.
I was working for the DOD at the time.
So we had to come up with a real quick decision, try to figure out what we were going to do. And of course, supporting life, I said, I will follow you. What do we need to do? What is going to work? So we literally sold everything, bought a farm.
We didn't sell everything.
Well, not our.
Because I got a whole outbuilding out there full of stuff that we brought with us.
We sold the house. We sold the land. We made adjustments, took a 60% pay cut, all of that, and then bought in, for cash, a farm that hasn't been worked in 20, 30 years. So we're having to redo all this. But as we were looking at it, he was trying to make me feel good. And so he was like, can you vision it? Can you see the vision? Do you see this finished, right? And so I'm trying to make him feel good. Now, you guys pay attention to what I'm saying. So I'm trying to make him feel good. Yeah, I can see it deep down in my gut. I'm in pain. And I'm not sharing that with him because I know he's going through a hard thing. And so then we get here, we move here 2 days as homeless people. Luckily, Tag at Life Done Free put us up, so it's all good. And then we get here, and everything they told us when we bought the house turned out to not be.
They lied to us.
Yeah.
Typical, right?
Yeah. And
million issues.
Yeah, a million. And so then you have a timeline. And this is where I talk about flexibility. You have to be flexible. And so we're coming in, and then we're like, oh my gosh, all right, we're working on this area of the pasture, trying to get infrastructure in. And then next thing you know, we can't find our heat lamps because they're put up in the outbuilding. And so I can't get to everything because we have a 2,800 square foot house in the outbuilding. And so all in boxes. And so I'm trying to go through everything. And I was like, screw it. So I just ran down to a store, bought some of the cheap lights, but they were all made in China. Next thing you know, we have 400 chicks burning up from the brooder and a $17,000 chicken house burning down to the ground. So it's like, does that destroy your life? What do you do? And so we were able to call community members. They came over right away to help. Community came together to help us rebuild it. That was great. But there was emotional stress that was put on both of us because that was a major setback.
Well, that's a biblical understatement.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
can
biblical
imagine.
understatement.
Right. And so then, we're looking at stuff we had to fix.
Mental health is important in that scenario.
Super important. And so, this is where I get into self-check. And so there was something else I wanted done. And his goals were different because he's like, this is what's going to get us through. And I'm thinking, I just want my dream home back that I sold and I gave up. And we were not communicating this with each other. And so finally one morning I got frustrated and he said something and I just snapped. And I started to say and speak my mind. And he listened to me all right. And then he turned around and he looked at me and he said, and this was my light bulb moment. He said, if this was real SHTF, I would shoot you and put you out of your misery. And, yeah, right? I wasn't
Hardcore.
laughing at the time.
And I wasn't joking.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
sure.
like, yeah, I stopped and I froze for a minute and I processed what he was saying because he's never said anything like that to me before. And so I was like, wait, what?
Chaos.
And then I realized I'm out of control. I'm demanding things that are not necessary, that can wait. And there is other things that do need to be done, to make sure that we're eating and doing all of that. And he's one man and I'm one woman. And so, you get on that homestead rotation, the group is growing so fast. That's maybe once every 6 months, if possible.
And here's the thing. And Zach, I'm going to turn your question upside down a little bit, okay?
Oh, he's flipping it on you.
As far as community-wise mental and physical health important, I think more importantly, we should be asking, why is community so important to mental and physical health? Okay.
Boom. Boom.
And
nice one.
I like to equate it to a bundle of arrows. Okay. If you take one arrow, you can snap it. If you add a second arrow, it becomes harder to snap it. And the more arrows you add, the harder it becomes to break. And eventually it becomes unbreakable. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what community
perfect.
Is. That is community, because you're multiplying everything. You're multiplying your skills, you're multiplying your resiliency, you're multiplying your materials, everything is. And when you're building a community, you get that community support. The chicken coop fire, that was devastating. I was in my work clothes and I was laying in the snow and the mud on my back when I realized there was nothing we could do to stop it. I was laying on my back watching the smoke go up in the sky, and I
poor
just,
little birdies.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, Conyer.
Yeah. And then the next thing that community does as far as mental health goes and physical health, it facilitates learning. It gives you
Yeah, that's a good point too.
an ability for personal growth and development.
The more people you're connected to, the more, naturally information is just going to be spread and you're going to be exposed to new ideas. It definitely facilitates learning. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's great. That's an excellent way to say it. The next thing it does is it creates an environment of teamwork, of collaboration. She was talking about the work days, and what she's talking about is our community gets together and we rotate to everybody's homestead and we do projects. Like last year, we went over to Tag's place, Life Done Free, and we cut 40 cord of wood in one day, and we split like 27 of them. And we
Many
had
hands make light
how
work.
many people were there?
That one I think was 29 people,
You know,
and then
That's how the
here-
Amish construct these massive, beautiful
Right.
buildings
Well,
in
and
like a
that's
day.
it. That's exactly it. And that's what we're trying to implement and pull that back. And so we needed trees to come down because we needed firewood, and everybody came over here. And
we only had like seven people come over.
no,
and
there were more than that.
we managed to put up 6 cord of wood in
Yeah.
one day.
Later, Mike.
And then the chicken coop got rebuilt in one weekend. I mean, there's still some finishes that need to be done
Nice.
on it, but it got finished in one weekend. And we're not talking a small chicken coop.
Right.
If you watch our videos, you'll see. So
Chicken
that got
City.
done. Yeah, it is Chicken City. Well, that's
Like
how
Tim Pool.
we're like we've got to the point where we're storing on the hoof more than what I'm canning and putting back.
Right.
And
Nice.
so now we're also finding revenue in what we have. And so we actually have a local restaurant that buys from farmers, and she's buying some lamb and turkeys and stuff from us.
Yeah.
So
Epic.
yeah, so we're trying to figure out also how to generate that income. But yeah, we need each other.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's where you put that down there too. But you also need time to relax and get to know each other. So when your community is getting, built so rapidly fast and all that, what do you do? So
Well, and before you go there, let me say something. The one thing that we found out, we've been on this journey for about 2.5 years, and we were the first people that moved into the community. There was a small group of locals here, but we moved in, and over the last 2.5 years, we are in the process of moving our 20th family into the community. Right.
Nice.
We all now. I was talking with Tag yesterday, and him and B and Yoda and I, out of all these families, we're the only ones that were forced to make a decision. And what I mean by forced to make a decision, we were put in a position where it was either take the shot or
lose your
leave,
job.
lose your job.
Right.
So
Messed
and
up.
We were not forced.
Nuremberg violation.
Yeah, we were not forced to buy this place, but we were forced to make a decision. And there are other people in the community that made the decision on their own, and they were looking to relocate or whatever.
Yeah, good point. I know where you're going with this.
And the thing about it is, we start talking, and we're all going through the same thing.
The same struggles.
Yes, the same struggles. So
mental health, everything.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why the decision was made. It doesn't matter how much money you've got to implement your decision. It doesn't matter. Everybody goes through this, because one thing we found is freedom is extremely messy, or pursuing freedom is extremely messy,
Inherently
scary.
dangerous.
Yeah, and it's extremely dangerous. And so you will go through, if you make the decision, if you decide to really substantively pursue a life done free, you will go through this stuff. And community helps you weather it. Now, going to tell them about the dinner.
Real
party.
quick, if I might, I just want to say that I liked your metaphor of the quiver. It's like it kind of goes along with all of your eggs in one basket thing, series of redundancies that prevent system failure. Not only it applies with having a community and a plan, a group to all have each other's backs like a unit, but it can apply to the idea of systems in general, centralization of power versus decentralization, a strong central government versus 50 independent states, or dispersing power even further into local communities and the level of sheriffs and stuff like that. So just an interesting concept. The quiver, when you have multiple redundancies, all the arrows, it makes the system harder to break overall. Exactly. And I just wanted to add that. So I thought that was a really good metaphor. But
Well,
continue
well,
with
and
your original point.
unfortunately, in the environment that we live in now, they are going to test that.
Yeah.
And by
And they are.
I mean the powers that be, the deep state, the global capitalist, whatever you want to
Right.
call they.
I'd say they've been centralizing for the purpose of making it easier to take down the system.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You know, she was going to tell you about the dinner party. So getting back to normal.
Yeah, so then the getting back to normal part, we started talking to, I would run in, if we had to get tires done or something like that. And I was constantly running into a new community member that was coming in. And I said, how are things going? And so they would tell me, and then I would have to say, okay, wait a minute, take a deep breath. And then here's what G and I went through and what we're going through.
Right.
And so, so I would tell them, and then all of a sudden everybody was like, well, wait. And so everybody's clashing, the husband and wife. And part of it is men and women do not communicate the same way.
Right.
And so we don't. And so I can say one thing,
sure.
he thinks I'm being nasty, and, or vice versa, when really we're just saying, okay, here's what needs to happen. And or you walk in the house and why are you disrespecting me? And I'm not disrespecting you. I didn't do anything. Yeah, you did. You haven't talked to me. You didn't say hello. You didn't say anything. And so why are you mad at me? And so it's not women drama. Yeah, it's just communication. And so we forget. We get so involved in everything that's going on, and the men are like, I have to make all of this right. So they're under a ton of pressure. And the women are like, okay, how am I going to make this easier for him and yet still get what I want? And we're doing all this work, and then we're slipping from other chores, which is also frustrating them. And so, we're just not talking. We're not communicating.
Well,
so we designed, because you wanted to go back to normal. He just wanted some normalcy.
I did. I just normal. I wanted normal again.
And so we used to have dinner parties once a month, and we would have a proper cocktail hour and all of that stuff. I'm not talking like ritzy, that kind of crap. But it was,
I'm talking Mad Men. I want sports jackets and ties, baby.
Don Draper.
That's right.
Break open a beer, sit around the campfire, eat some good food and that kind of thing. And we quickly realized, we said it one time in our live that we were going to go back to it. And then all of a sudden other community members were like, I really like that idea. And then they're like, we really want to get to know you better. We want to, understand where we're at, what are our interests and that kind of thing. Because when you grow rapidly, you don't get that. Mm-hmm. And so now we're figuring out, okay, these are the people who have literally come out and said, I'm going through this. These are the people we need to get together. So we're going to do a dinner on Saturday night.
Well, and it'll be our third one this year. And the thing is, here's what it is. Here's what it does as far as in reference to what we're talking about.
You support each other.
There is a great benefit to the therapy of conversation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just talking to people. And
strength in numbers through a variety of methods.
You're not alone. Just understanding that you're not alone, it goes a long ways towards making it all better, and celebrating accomplishments. I don't know if have you guys ever heard of the concept of the emotional gas tank?
Probably. I can kind of theorize what it means.
What the emotional gas tank is, it's a person's ability for resiliency and capacity. And whenever you have negative stuff happen to you, your emotional gas tank gets emptied. So
and then when you have nothing left to lose, you lose it.
Exactly. And you become depressed, and you just get really negative. So what we need to do is we need to refill that gas tank. And for adults, I took a youth coaching seminar from the lady that was the psychologist for the San Francisco 49ers, and she's the one that explained this. And so for adults, filling up it only takes like 3 negative comments to empty or negative events to empty your emotional gas tank, and it takes like 5 to 7 to fill it up. Mm-hmm. And with kids, it's even worse. So we need to be aware of that, and we need to do things to to fill it
Unless
up.
you're a YouTuber, then you get 1,000 negative comments and it doesn't affect your emotional
Isn't that
gas
always
tank at all.
Yeah, always fun. And then you're just sitting there going, how can I be sarcastic and go back at you? But yeah. But JJ, is that LePepe?
JJ Von Pepe.
Yeah. And so I would say that, it's running low. So come on out. Come out to Midwest Preparedness Project. Come out to where they're camping. Even better, send out a Facebook invite and let everybody know, hey, here's where I'm at. Let's do a potluck. Let's get together. So if you know 2 like-minded people, please invite them. And it grows and grows and grows. The first like-minded potluck we did, we had 65
Wow.
people.
Yeah.
65 people, maybe
Huge.
a little bit more. That was 28 families together and represented 5 counties. And we've just grown from there. And so, don't count on other people bringing you your refill, right? Just go ahead and figure out how to do it. And so that's one way to do it, along with freesteading.com. And so if you get on freesteading.com, you can actually set those up in there and then go to your state page. You may see that somebody already has it in there, and then you can just go.
They've also got a calendar. I forgot to mention the calendar.
The calendar.
We're trying to get all the sponsors of these festivals and classes and stuff to put their stuff on this calendar. So number one, they're not stepping on each other's toes. But the other thing is so people can go there and they can see what's in their area and they can attend these things and meet people, right? Look
at that. You just had somebody pop in there. You've got Tom, who is in West Virginia, and you have Joan, who's in Virginia. So there you go. And this is what we find a lot.
Darn near
when
neighbors.
we do this. A lot of people, we'll be at
Boom.
Self-Reliance Festival, and we'll have 2 people standing there talking to each other, and they literally live 15 minutes from each other. And so there's your community.
Booyah.
And some other things that community does to help your mental health. And this is going to really focus on the mental aspect of it, because your physical health, your mental health will affect your physical health, and vice versa.
Big time.
And there are a ton of people out there. It's a trope in the prepping community, specifically, and in the greater homesteading and prepping community in general, that about physical fitness, right? We all know that we're out of shape. We all know that we need to get better, right? But there's only one person that I know of that talks about mental health on a constant basis, and that's Mind for Survival. Brian at Mind for Survival. He's the only person that I know of that
haven't heard of him before.
Talks on a consistent basis.
You'll love him. Him and Dale are great.
Yep.
Nice.
Zach, I'm in the middle of making tamales. I got to get those ready for festival. I'm going to just step away for a minute and do that. And you take that over? Okay.
So another thing that community does is it will help you balance your work life and your personal life. So, a lot of people out there that are homesteading have jobs. I'm one of those people, right? And I'm going to a job and then I'm coming home and working. There are people that are strictly homesteading. That's work, seriously. And I spent last year, between August and November, I spent 3 months, and the only time I left our property was to go to a social function that she forced me to do, go to a festival so we could do our vendor tent, go to the hardware store, or go to work. Those are the only reasons I left the property. And as much as I got done, it's not healthy. I realize that's not healthy, right? So it helps you get out there, because had she not been there to force me to the social functions for the community, I wouldn't have done those, and I wouldn't have got to interact with everybody, because I was in a very bad place. I was coming off of they rescinded the order for government employees to take the jab in July. And I was extremely pissed off for about a month. And I mean, mad. And it affected my mental health negatively. Right. And I didn't want to interact with people. So it helps that. Yeah, and another thing, community. You know, do you guys realize that we are a reflection of our 5 closest friends? The people that we interact with the most, we are a reflection of what they are. And what community allows us to do is allows us to surround ourselves with like-minded people that are successful.
Force multipliers for ourselves.
Exactly. I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer that you should always try to not be the best person in the room. You should always surround yourself with people that are better at something than you are and will lift you up. Right? And that doesn't
Is that why you
mean
brought me here today? No,
there you go. There you go,
Just
man.
kidding.
There you go. You're lifting us up. You know, that's
You guys are way ahead of me.
oh, what you got, Zach?
That's why I'm here.
For me, the reason why mental and physical health are important when it comes to community is because if someone in our group is depressed and having a not so good day, it affects the people around us to where we are worrying about their state of being and not allowing things to get done so our future can be improved. It's
Right.
like our compassionate nature kicks in and we want to do what we possibly can to make sure that they are okay. This is why it's critical to help one another be as resilient, positive, and productive when it comes to being in and helping out others in a community. Like here's an example. I get down on myself when I believe I push people away because I don't know how to explain it. It's like I try to love like I feel like I should, but in my mind, it plays a game where I'm trying to love too much and I end up going into depression. I'm unfortunately an overthinker, but because of my community online, those thoughts disappear as a result of having people who love.
There you go.
Right. You know, and you bring up a good point. You bring up an excellent point, Zach. What community can do, and this is one of those places where I think our community as a whole has not been the greatest. I know I have been the greatest. We can look at each other and we can see each other in community, and we can say, hey, you know, guy, this is what we're seeing. This concerns us. This is something that we're concerned about, and it allows the community can audit each other, right? Let's say, oh my gosh.
Sorry, think for your authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. JJ Von Pepe made that meme of me as the queen earlier. I just sorry, I couldn't resist. Didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought there.
You know, but it allows us to audit each other, right? And hopefully point out where we're getting off track, if you will. You know.
And we do that pretty well.
Well, we haven't done it as good as she just said.
The girls do. The girls do.
Oh, because they're better than us, right? You know, no, but you got to admit, as a group, we could do it better.
Yeah.
So she just shook her head and said yes. You know, so and that's what community. Man, it is as far as I'm concerned, it is the most important thing people can do is build community, right? And because of all these benefits that I just talked about.
Yep, that's where I'm failing big time. I got Mama Mac and my friend Mark though locally who are kind of on the same page as me. There's not a lot of people like us around Connecticut that I know of. I need to work on building
Sterling,
community.
In all seriousness, try the potluck thing. Find a neutral site. Invite Mama back, and who is the other person?
My friend Mark.
Mark.
Freesteading.com.
And
we're gonna have to look into that too.
Have them invite 2 people that are like-minded that you don't know.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Have those 2 people ask 2 people, and then when you have it at a neutral place, a park or a restaurant or something. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about prepping. Seriously, and it's hard to do, I know, but don't talk about it, and just get to know each other. All right, feel each other out. The 2 things you need to do though. Everybody that wants to be involved gives their contact information, an email or a phone number, and number 2, make a spreadsheet and have people list what they want, what they're looking for, what their needs are, and what they can offer. All right,
You're like, what do you sell? What do you grow?
because this is part of building community. So we were looking for somebody that could provide us with fresh milk, and one of the people at the thing has dairy cows, and now
There you go.
a year later, we've got a milk lady. We don't have dairy cows. We've got the ability to buy milk, and they were not members of our community, but they have become members of our community, and they were local, and they become friends. I think.
Oh yeah, they're dear friends now.
I think Milk Lady and her husband are really good friends now.
Yeah. And
nice.
the nice
And I
part
found
is
that website, freesteading.
And because I get her milk now, she's got A2. I've actually been able to help other community members with gut health and getting them off medication just with that A2 milk. So it's been great. It's been beneficial for everybody.
And folks, that website is free. It doesn't cost anything to join.
Prepper Facebook. Definitely gonna have to sign up on that.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. That's why it was built, Sterling. That tag created it as specifically as a free speech alternative to Facebook. And I think there's what, 80,000 people in there now.
Exactly what we need.
Yeah, there might be more than that. And this is privately owned. So because it's privately owned, they don't have to follow any of the other guidelines and nixing everybody out. That being said, nobody is nixed out or kicked out. So be prepared if you get a comment or whatever, which we've never really had any issues. So, but just
if you go to freesteading.com, you got to put your big boy pants on, and you got to toughen up, Buttercup. That's seriously, that's what it's like. That's what we need right now.
Sounds like
Joan's already
There's
on
one
nice.
There's one that I found also, unjected.com, for people who are looking to make friends that are purebloods, so to speak. See if I can pull that up as well. I think it's a paid website, unfortunately.
Yeah,
see, no, we would never do that
because, we would never do that because we have community members that are doctors, and they're already figuring out and working with people in Tennessee and also in Missouri for a pure blood bank. And so they figured out how to get around the federal law. And so it's not any of that garbage, but
see, nice. Look at that. We've got Koisi, Mama, and Mama Mac.
Yeah.
They're already talking about finding each other on freesteading.
I think it's Choshi, isn't it? Choshi.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm from the Midwest.
Yeah, Choshi Mama.
Choshi.
She's one of our followers.
Is she?
Yeah, and Skane's girl.
I'm sorry, Choshi.
Yeah, Choshi.
Oh, Zach's got something.
Take it away, brother.
Yeah, there's no need to pay for that stuff. I mean, if you're talking freedom, why are you paying for it?
Right. I'm nervous to date with the jab stuff happening.
Yeah, what we're finding.
I'm on freesteading under unique prepping.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I see you
I'll
coming
send you a
through
friend
the
request when I
new
make an
app all the
account.
time. But yeah, the Pure Blood Bank. So the way that they figured out to get away from the government, basically, I know some of you might cringe. It's a list. You go on a list. They know everybody in the community, what blood type you are. They have actually made sure that you have not had the jab, that you've not been susceptible to MNRA, and that your blood is good. And then you would need to be within the distance of the hospital between a half hour to 45 minutes. 45 minutes is the latest. So if there's a blood transfusion that needs to happen, you go immediately over there and then it's done directly. So
crazy.
Yeah. So that's the
Good
only
stuff.
way they could get around it. But, so yeah, it's a little more work, but, keeps us healthy. I know I'm not going to die of a heart attack tomorrow morning, so.
I might.
And it's not aliens that are looking for Rh negative blood type people creating a list to
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I was
weed them out and experiment on them in abductions.
Or is it?
Is it RH negative? Is that the one? I don't know. I can't remember exactly.
I know we're super lucky in our community. We have a lot of doctors and a lot of nurses and that kind of thing. So we're super lucky in that manner. And a lot are going back to herbal medicine, and so that's been fun because I
Mama
grow a
Mac
lot of
knows
that
about
here.
that.
Yeah, I've been growing a lot of herbs here. I've got particular gardens for my chickens, my sheep, my goats, and turkeys, and all that. And then we have ours.
Nice.
And so, yeah, so it's been great. Now I've been asked by a restaurant to plant them herbs. We'll see how that goes. That's gonna be
Killer.
a lot of acreage. A lot of acreage.
Zach,
Interesting. I just signed up for freesteading, and Gmail sent it to my spam filter, the confirmation. So they're being,
yeah. See, now you know it's good
you know,
stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Zach, what's the next question? I think we kind of beaten that first question to death already.
Poor Zach, we're going to be on here 5 hours.
The one he did with Tag last week was 2 hours.
Question number 2. When it comes to the future, how can a community help prevent people from losing their drive and/or self-esteem?
Yeah. Work together.
There's that moral support. Yeah, exactly. Those redundancies. Plus, when you have people that are all working towards a goal and on a team, that's what teammates do, is help keep each other motivated and focused, and elevate each other to push them towards their potential. When you have a good community, I'm imagining that it's the same thing. I know Mama Mac whips me to make me keep doing work, and everything like that. So I'm imagined that in this type of scenario that, yeah, it helps to have a community to just keep people's drive, keep them motivated.
Yeah.
By setting positive examples and offering constructive criticisms when it's necessary.
Yeah.
Joan Kelly, her name is Yoda.
Yeah, if you're trying to find me on freesteading, you're going to go in and it's, oh my gosh, it's the leaders in there. And
is it Greek Yoda or Star Wars Yoda? Just a
Star Wars Yoda.
Okay. IOTA, is like a Greek letter, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So I knew a girl named Yoda, and I would always be like, Master Yoda.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a girl's lunch. This is what happens when you live in a community.
We are not, in fact,
you do something stupid or quick, and all of a sudden you get a nickname.
In fact, I think out of everybody in the community, well, Tag picked his. I think I'm the only move-in that chose my own nickname.
Yeah.
Everybody else did something.
Even Hitch was given.
Yeah. Even the locals were given.
Yeah.
But I think Tag and I are the only two that.
Gypsy is like Lefty Lucy.
It's like a military unit.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that we just talked about answer this question. Seriously, and I think if I were to sum it up, the community helps with the positivity, filling that emotional gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
You will get drained.
Exactly.
And the big problem, and I did a video about this, about changing your perspective. You will get to the point where you can see the trees, but you can't see the forest.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad.
You know what? And she was talking to one of our friends. Excuse me.
He was literally in the bark.
Yeah, he said
couldn't get any further.
All he could see was the bark, and so the community allows you to get some positivity and be able to step back, change your perspective. It allows you
alternate perspectives.
Yeah, change your perspective and then attack the problems from a different angle and with a better mindset.
Like mirrors in the forest, allowing you to see around all the trees.
And physically too. I mean, you do these work days, it helps you physically. It makes you more physically fit, and that helps your mental health too.
Well, and you would just be amazed. You would be amazed at the relationships made when we're all working together and how much gets done that day. Two people can accomplish, would we figure, 4 times more than what we do by ourselves. And so
that's what Pooh Bear always said, right?
Yeah.
Everything's easier with 2.
Yeah. And now multiply that by 25, by 40, by 50. I mean, it's insane. So now we're at the point where all the homesteads are trying to make sure we have enough work to do in order to pull on a work day, because we don't want anybody sitting idle.
Right.
So,
And the self-esteem part, personal experience. You end up starting all these projects, and you don't finish them, and they become burdensome, right? They become, instead of being something that's positive and moving you forward, they become a chore, and they become something that you dread doing. And so
Right.
so having the community there to help you accomplish these chores gives you that sense of accomplishment, which boosts your self-esteem, and your drive. And you wake up, I'm telling you, the days and the weeks after the homestead events, my drive is full
Through the
bore.
roof.
Yeah.
Booyah.
And I wish we did it more often. I
yeah,
really
but
do.
you do also, on the same token, you have to be very careful, because in the beginning, here's what we found. There were a lot of people in the community that were comparing their progress to someone else's progress. And so then they're like, well, they've gotten so much done and I haven't gotten anything done, which you really have. You just can't see past that bark, right? And so you have to be very, very careful not to do that, because everybody is in a different level of their journey. And so, everyone's situation is different. Like, you work, other people don't work. And so, the time is different and how things are spent.
Don't measure yourself against other people.
Right.
Right? Other people have more
for sure.
resources. Other people have more time. Don't measure. If you're going to compete with anybody, compete with yourself.
Yeah, there you go. That's always a
Hey,
good,
independent
good way to
mini.
do it. I just joined Freesteader. So
Welcome.
posting my profile link in the chat.
Yeah.
Boom.
And then you'll
If you guys
want
wanna
to
link
go
up.
through and connect with everybody. So you have to ask to connect.
What you got, Zach?
And I'll
Oh,
try
gotcha.
I'll try to watch it. I have to remember my password to get on a free study to connect.
Freesteading. Boom. Yeah, looks like a pretty good site.
What I believe when being in a community and helping others from losing their motivation, drive, and or self-esteem is by creating some kind of activity or doing something that you can do together.
Yeah.
Being able to be there for someone by encouraging them, helping them thrive at something, or just being there as someone who they can talk to is very valuable when it comes to restoring confidence in their physical and mental well-being.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
understand that some people don't like others around them when they're going through low points in their lives, but I feel like it's better to have others around when you're down rather than being alone and having thoughts that make your mind go crazy. So I believe that having people around you to help you get through your funk and make things better is important to helping people keep their drive and esteem going in a positive direction.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotta have somebody to whip you back in line. Say,
Yep.
get that
So-
chin up.
Yeah, so that's another thing, right? And so you need to make sure, as people are coming into the community, you need to make sure that you vet them long enough. And we're finding out a year is not necessarily long enough, and maybe you need to go 2 years, 3 years, that kind of thing, and really vet them, because you want to make sure you're not pulling someone into your community that is, forgive, but this is how I kind of look at it, a vampire. And so you get somebody who is a vampire and they're draining all of your energy, and you're trying to support them and they're not doing anything with it. But then all of a sudden you're left empty because you don't have the energy, because you wasted all that on that person.
The local commie in the group, sucking up all the resources and your energy thereby.
Right. So
So-
you really need to learn how to balance that.
So Scanes Girl mentioned, perspective is a big thing, and yes, it is. Case in
Theme in
point.
my books.
Case in point. So this property had not been taken care of for 20 years, and when I'm working, I see all the debris and junk, plastic, metal. I see everything. I see everything in the ground, and if I clean it up, it like reappears. I see the piles of rubbish. I see all the old tires that I pulled out. I see all that stuff. and I did a video, and the video came about because of the community. But I crawled on top of the storm shelter. I was putting up a trellis for a tomato plant there, and when you get up above the low level, I can see all the changes that have happened. I can see all the positivity, and it came about because I did not see all my accomplishments.
Hold that comment, will you, Zach?
I did not see my accomplishments, and the community members helped me change my perspective, and I was able to come out of that little slump.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly
So
what it takes.
JJ says a lot of stuff is super hard for an extreme introvert. And so that's funny. And like, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just saying it's funny because
she's laughing at you.
This one hates people. He hates people.
Yeah, I don't like people in general.
And so many of the festivals that we go to, we also run into people who don't like people. And then several people in our community, they don't like people. And it's not, I don't mean this in a bad way. They just rather be home and be to themselves. There's no drama.
They recognize the value in a community. And you can all sit together at your potlucks, minding your own business and not having to fucking deal with any of these son of bitches. Right.
And so it's really funny because I would say over the last year and a half, 2 years, we're really starting to figure out. A lot of people will come up to us and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Shirt.
And this is uncomfortable for me because I'm an introvert. And I'm like, "But you just came out to me. You're really not."
right. Yeah.
So, and then I see how they interact there. It's not that you're an introvert. I think that's what psychology and the times of the day, I think that's what they're telling everybody. You're either an introvert or extrovert. I think what it really is you're finding your clan. You're finding your group. And so when you find your clan, you find your group, you find your core, you're going to come out. And
when you resonate with the people around you.
Right.
It just feels natural.
Yeah, put me in a room with a liberal. My God, I mean, that's going to be a nightmare. And so, I mean, I'm either going to piss somebody off and it's going to be a fist fight, or I'm just going to leave. I'll shut down and leave. And so, how do you call
Maybe
that?
both.
Possibly both. But if it's both, then that's contrary to what I'm trying to say. So, it's either like an introvert doesn't want that conflict.
The
conflict. Thank you.
I don't. That's the reason why I don't like people, is because I don't like conflict, because my past, everything looks like a nail, and I treat it like a nail.
Marine Corps much?
Yeah, it's my Marine Corps training and the way I grew up.
There you go.
I don't like that. I do not like that, because I don't want to. I'll revert back to it if I have to, but I don't want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, chat, have we answered this question fully? I mean, does anybody have any questions about that question? Want any clarification? No. We got everybody, Zach. We got everybody loading up on freesteading now.
Nice.
I guess Joan said we were already connected. That was in the
I saw
new
that.
days. Yeah, that was in the new days when I was responsible, and I would go in there and try to make sure to connect with everybody that was coming in because we were growing. And now I'm just like so busy, it's hard to get in there. I need to do better at that.
So Joan says that her youngest has Asperger's and has a hard time with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean this in a negative way. A lot of preppers and a lot of homesteaders are on the autism spectrum someplace. Seriously. And I don't mean that in a negative way. And it's what makes them so successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that
weaponized autism. Yeah, I've heard like the 8chan crowd that can find anything out or accomplish any impossible task.
Oh my gosh, we have a really good friend of ours. He's in the community, and they travel with us a lot, Hacks.
Oh.
And so it's super, super funny because, man, if there's a redneck engineering solution to anything, this man has it. And we were like,
nice.
transmission
duct
hoses.
tape.
we were leaving Kentucky in October, and we were, what was it? It was the
The
plastic zip
transmission, the
lines.
transmission hose, the for the fluid broke, and we ended up. This goes back to the whole mentoring and getting guidance.
Yeah.
Because Darren taught me how to troubleshoot that, and we literally put it together with hose clamps and zip ties.
Right.
And we made it from
Kentucky.
Bowling Green, Kentucky to Northeast Kansas.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the big fire in Bowling Green earlier today?
No, where?
At some kind of fuel depot. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but a big levee looks like took place. I don't know if you're familiar with that. A boiling
outside by the
liquid
university.
expanding vapor explosion.
Oh, that's not good.
Gas tank went up and a big fire. I can't remember what the name of the place was, but yeah, big mess. Unfortunately, hate to see that happening.
Especially there. That is such beautiful country.
It really is.
Yeah. You know, if we're starting to see infrastructure attacks around the place, for instance, maybe the Francis Scott Key Bridge incident, you know, it makes sense that they'd be hitting red areas.
Yep.
Like Bowling Green, right? Red State, isn't it? Yeah, Rand Paul down there and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the Ag Center. We always go to Bowling Green, Western Kentucky University.
Yeah.
And so that's where we have our Kentucky Sustainable Living there. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. You probably ought to call Jason, make sure, kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Make sure they got everything cleaned up because we're only on Wednesday. So, but yeah, interesting.
Very Kentucky.
Yeah.
Beautiful country down there.
Yeah. Yeah,
what I've
I always
heard.
laugh. It's funny the states we end up going to because that's my family's, you know, in heritage and all that. My family's stomping grounds is Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So
3 places I've never been before.
beautiful. You love it.
Definitely want to go to all 50 states.
Mhm.
Been to a lot of them. Not quite 50 though.
Yeah.
Out of every
Bowling
state
Green
that
is
you guys
one
have
of
been to, what has been your favorite, would you say?
my favorite. Well, but I live there, so
Zach's got a question.
Tennessee.
Okay, Tennessee.
Ooh, Zach, go ahead, brother.
Go for it, Zach. Hit us with the next one. Come on, baby.
Hit us again, Ike. And this time put some stank on it.
Question number 3. If you were a part of a community, how would you want people to help if you weren't feeling like your normal self?
That's
Okay.
a good question.
One of the
Probably,
things.
He
Yeah.
gets to go first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sterling.
Oh, it's all good. I'm actually kind of drawing a blank. So if you want to take it away, if you got something that's right off the top of your head, go for it.
So I was thinking about this question earlier today, and one of the main thing that struck me that a lot of people will not think of is, as a community member, we have to be constructively intrusive. All right. And
Right.
as far as this aspect is concerned, as community members, we have to be willing to risk upsetting somebody, and we approach it from the point that we want them to be the best they can be. Right. So we have to be constructively intrusive, you know, and then we offer solutions. Okay.
Big Ugly called you a fed and a white boy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Me. He's talking about me.
Oh, okay.
That's the theory, is that I'm a secret fed and I have handlers that are
So I worked for the squirrel. Okay, this is a squirrel moment. I worked for the DoD. I had a federal ID card, and we would go to these the Midwest Preparedness Festival, and I let everybody know. And there were some people that seriously would not talk to me because I worked for the federal government, and we would sit there and they start talking,
Not
and I would look at them and I go, listen, you guys can turn your phones off. You can't turn me off. So be careful what you say. And so I would just
messing with them.
throw gasoline on their
He
paranoia.
was just messing with them, but man, people would
they
get
took me
really bent
seriously.
out of shape.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then did you get your male perspective on that out there?
Well, go ahead and say.
So
say
I'm
then
gonna
we'll
say
get the
female perspective. Basically, what we do, like, so for example, we have one community member that has had like serious influenza. Their daughter was down for a while, longer than what it should have been,
no.
and then she was feeling better, or she was feeling fine. The mom, and then the mom fell, and so I mean, it was like that. So then all of a sudden, dad had to take over the house and make sure that everything was done. And his daughter was super, super cute. And she said, we got a text message. he said he fixed her breakfast and she was sitting at the table and she said, well, you sure ain't mom. And so, he couldn't cook breakfast like mom, but he was trying to take care of him. Well, all of a sudden, all the community members started coming in and they were like, okay, here's what we recommend. Do you have this herb? Do you have that herb? Hey, I'll run this one over if you don't have it. Hey, okay, so he's doing it. We got to get this tea put together. Can somebody put that into the dose that he needs for that day's tea, etc. And so that's what we do. So I think inserting is correct, but you insert on how you can help. Now, of course, he's a man, and he's like, I got it covered. And so, I think we have everything, but yeah, so I don't know what happened, but I did end up talking to her and I said, you do have that frankincense and myrrh that I sent over, right? And she's like, yeah. And I said, did you look at the label? You need to build up your lungs. Like, she's suffering. Yeah, she's suffering. And so, anyway, well, I was telling it because they're friends of ours, but yeah, so she started on that and she's should be doing better here pretty soon. So
I was thinking about this question and I referenced back to a trauma, how to deal with people that have been through trauma pamphlet that I got from the hospital I worked at. And I don't know if I did a video on it or not, but I was doing a lot of research on PTSD and trauma at the time. And so I referenced back to that on this and here's some of the things I came up with. And these are things that as community members we can do. And these are things that as a community member that's having problems, these are things that we should be open for. These are things that we should accept and not push people away like we're wont to do. Okay. The first one is listen and offer support. And by that, I mean, we just let somebody vent. Sometimes somebody just venting is enough to help them. And then when I say offer support, as men, when women say that there's something wrong, the first thing we want to do is fix it. We want to offer solutions.
Don't be a fixer.
All right. So and somebody that's going through a serious mental health problem doesn't want that, right? What we need to have is empathy, and we need to understand what the person is going through. The next thing, community visits. Go around the community. She's got this uncle that lives down, or great uncle, Frank.
Oh yeah.
She's got this great uncle down in Arkansas, Uncle Frank, and he's retired. Frank. And what he does is
he wants to be like Frank.
He gets his cooler of Busch Light, and he hops in his pickup truck, and he goes around and he visits all the widows that in the community that don't have their husbands, and he offers to do handyman stuff. He mows their yard and all that, and he provides a little bit of that conversation.
That's a good dude right there.
Therapy, and that's what he does. That is his retirement, and it's kept him young.
It's kept him very young.
Yeah.
And so, and then what would you say? Probably 6:30. That's when everyone else, the youngers from the community, come over, and then refrigerators open. Everybody just sits and BS's for a while.
Right.
It's Arkansas.
And then the next thing, and this is super important. All right. Offer practical help, and what that means is, if somebody's down, like say I've got pneumonia and she needs hand with something heavy, be available to help help with that chore. Moral support,
Mhm.
physical and moral support on things, operational things in the homestead, or if you're prepping, you know, if her sciatic nerve goes out, she can't fill a 5-gallon bucket with wheat and move it around.
Well,
You
I
know?
Right.
could. I'm just going to be hurting.
Well, but you understand what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
we offer the physical and moral support, encouragement. That goes back to filling up that emotional gas tank. You know, accept the encouragement as it's offered, and be there for somebody. You know, yes, this is bad. It's going to get better. All right. Here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Because frankly, you can get in a dark place and not see that light.
Yeah.
I can tell you
Right.
that from personal experience.
Hop in
You
the
know?
truck, drive around with a pack of Bush Light and some white pills to pass out. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you got to stay on the back roads after a 6-pack, right?
Yeah. The stages are there.
The bone roads. Yeah.
Right. So this is funny. They're still talking about you being a Fed. So if you're single, we may have a gal for you to meet, because
Oh,
there
yeah?
are several in our community that think we were infiltrated by a Fed.
No, that's right.
Yeah, right. So, and she's pretty too.
We
I
go
think you'd like her.
through a lot of tinfoil.
Sign me up.
Mhm.
The next thing I came up with was boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be intrusive, but we don't want to be so intrusive that we turn the person off, right?
Yeah.
How do you explain to the kids if something goes down?
Oh, super simple. So I would say, as a mom, so you should actually be practicing that. And so if
Yeah.
you have small kids in there, you should be practicing it. No
Fire drills type stuff.
Right. No cell phone.
Pavlovian training.
You know, earthquake, get under the desk, the table, that kind of thing. That box. Of course, I grew up that way, and so did you. We're at that age.
Right.
but
Like the Joker says, nobody freaks out if it's part of the plan, no matter how horrifying it is.
Exactly.
You know?
And so, you know, that's why the kids should be out learning how to milk. They need to be collecting eggs. They need to be feeding. They need to be gardening. They need to be pulling weeds. If it's, I guarantee you, if it is part of the daily routine, they will never know that shit hit the fan. They will never know.
Well, and
Right.
I can tell you what not to do. Don't lie to them, and don't keep it from them. All right, that's one of the problems with our society is our children are too sheltered.
There's
And
bubble
when bad
wrap
things-
hiding all the sharp edges, metaphorically
Exactly,
speaking.
exactly. And when something happens and you can't hide it from them, it affects them because it's a trauma. It is a legit trauma for these kids. And so the best thing you can do is be truthful. Now, I'm not saying, you know, if something bad happens that you go like full description on it. You know, they're kids. They can only handle so much information.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so
Don't lie to them with the details that are appropriate to divulge.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So that's how you take care of the kids.
Mhm.
You know.
Good call.
So the next thing is include me. If I'm sick, include me. Don't treat me like I'm a
Poison.
a three-eyed toad or something, right? Don't treat
Yeah,
me
that's
like
a big
I'm
part of it.
You know, and I guess that's normalizing it. Is that the right way to put it? You know, we don't want to treat somebody like a pariah just because they're sick, physically or mentally, right? You know.
Yep,
Um,
for sure.
Joan Kelly, you're homeschooling, so I think you have more of a benefit of actually getting through on their level. And if you want, email us. Don't put it on freesteading because I'm terrible at getting there, but just email therealgrumpyacresfarm.com. And is it? No, that's not it.
That's
At
it.
gmail.com. And then email us and I'll see that. And I think I will hook you up with another homeschooler. They actually, her children are the ones, they're our farmsteaders. So they take care, our farmsteaders, our farm homesteaders. And they take care of everything while we're gone at festivals. So And they do a
Nice.
pretty good job. I mean, I did a video with the Beast. We call him the Beast because he's a hard worker. 11 years old, does more work than a 30-year-old man.
Damn.
And yeah, no, he's
He's a
great.
good kid.
And so they come over here, they work super hard. And I just think maybe we can kind of connect her and Amber together. I think that would be good. And Amber can maybe walk you through that if you're concerned. So,
You know, another thing that we can do.
oh, they've graduated now.
Oh,
Well, sorry.
you know, another thing that community can do, and we should be willing to accept, is if somebody needs to get professional help, we should be able to tell them that. We should be our personal relationships should be good enough that we can suggest personal help. Case
Make
in point,
interventions great again.
right? Case in point, I hate the VA. I passionately dislike the VA, and I've had people suggesting that I go get I use my VA benefits.
This last weekend was really huge for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've had people do that, and I've fought against it, and I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do what they suggest, and
And then this last weekend, Linda, EJ.
I had multiple people.
Yeah, I mean, like people from
They
Naked
rode-
and
they rode my
Afraid and
butt.
all these other people, they're all sitting down, you know, all Marines, and they're like, this is what you have to do. And then they're like, I said, well, he calls me a nag. I've been telling him that. And they're like, keep nagging. They're like, keep
When it's one of the
nagging and
brothers.
just- yeah, take that as a compliment when he says you're nagging. And so we did kind of
Yes,
have
they
fun
nagged.
with that a little
They
bit
nagged
today.
Yeah, and the last thing we can do, is we can share our personal experiences,
Yeah.
because we're all going through the same thing.
Mhm.
And the hardest part, and from where I'm sitting, is thinking that I'm going at it alone, and thinking that my problem, I'm the only person going through this. And so share your experiences.
Yeah.
You know,
We actually had people that we were talking in Kentucky. They were asking what we were going to be speaking on at Self-Reliance Festival and in Kiowa. And we told them, and we actually had people kind of step back and said, are you really going to share that? And I said, yeah, why not? And so kind of what we
Right.
shared today. And they were like, but that's so personal. Yeah, hell yeah. There's several people that are in our shoes that are ready to
People
just
who need
sell
to hear it.
everything and go back to the system. So they need to know that they're looking at other people and saying you're a success. You've made it. When in reality, we are like so fighting for everything that we have. And so we need to share that and let them know our trials and tribulations. And that's why I get irritated with some YouTubers, because all you see is their success.
right.
And, you know, that's not fair. That is just not fair, because I know that those YouTubers did not have success all the way through. They went through the same crap that we went through. So share those failures. Share, you know, how did you overcome that? How did it become successful?
Be genuine and be
Right.
truthful,
Right,
Yeah, good call.
because people can see through the BS.
right.
Right,
You know,
and that's how,
especially
as a community, we all empower each other and learn. Like we talked about,
Correct.
multiple
Exactly.
perspectives, strengthening all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And Sterling, correct me if I'm wrong here. YouTube community can cut through that BS like a knife, and they will tell you whenever you're BSing, don't they?
Except for when they call me a Fed. You know?
Garen's been called
Yeah.
a Fed, so
I was a Fed.
yeah. You
I
Oh,
was
that's true.
literally a Fed.
I was not.
Oh,
See, and
Zach, now
that's
you're really screwed.
what a Fed would say.
I
Zach's
mess
got
with them a little bit since they make the accusation. Zach,
Yeah, Zach.
Z-Man, take it away, brother.
If I was a part of a community and I wasn't myself, I'd want to be involved in helping get a garden started, get my hands in soil, help people build stuff or anything else that I can do. I understand that I'm limited in stuff, but trying to overcome obstacles and help others is what gives me the positivity to grow myself in a good way. Like I can't cook except in the microwave, and more hand-steady things, but I can do things to definitely help. And the other thing I would like my community to do is involve me in stuff. Many times in my life, I was excluded because of my outer physical appearance, so that's why I want to be included. I'm
Yeah,
tired of
that's-
the system putting us in boxes, excuse my French, but fuck that sh it.
Oh yeah. Just inclusion, just like you were saying, Grumpy. That's the key. Making
Well,
everybody
Yeah.
feel like they're part of the group.
Yeah,
And-
and
they
so
are.
Zach, I'm going
Go
to
ahead,
cut
go
you
ahead,
off
go
here a minute. I'm sorry. Zach, sun oven. So if you don't have electricity, you need a sun oven. That sun oven is going to work like your
Ooh.
stove and your microwave. And so I actually cook gourmet meals in my sun ovens. We've got 3 of them. We sell them. We're affiliates with them. I
So
think
cool.
you'd really like it. So that's something to look at. Sunoven.com. Go to our
I've wanted
About
to try one
page.
of those.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. I cook in them all the time. We don't use AC here. We're in Northeast Kansas. I mean, it's like hot. We had 130 degrees last
Mhm.
year. And so I shut the kitchen down and everything was in the sun oven. But get that sun oven. You can get that food. I've seen you with that dehydrator, man. You can get that food to that sun oven. So you get you a sun oven and then get out there and cook.
Well,
But
Hell
and
yeah.
Zach, give me a thumbs up if this is true. When you started your journey, I remember one of your big concern was the physical aspect of it all, and the community. I remember people just telling you, that get past it. You're capable of doing way more than you think you are, and the stuff that you're doing today is light years away from where you started. Right?
Boom.
That was all community. But here's the thing, folks. Everybody in chat. Zach went out and Zach started the conversation.
yeah.
Zach went out. Zach got outside his comfort zone and did something that was extremely uncomfortable for him. And look where it's taken him.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, Zach. If you want to come out here from Colorado, G's finishing the bedroom, the 3rd bedroom. If you want to come out here, we're actually doing a community
You are
garden.
Party!
You are so good.
Oh, yeah.
You are so good at volunteering me.
Well, you're going to finish that bedroom. You have to finish that bedroom.
Zach, I don't care if you come out, but it's not done, brother.
It's going to be before you come out. But we actually, there's several people. They're going to be putting in wells. They're going to be doing some construction and that kind of thing. So we decided we're going to take a few acres off of ours and we're going to do a community garden. And everybody has said that they'll come over, help plant, help harvest, and that kind of
There you
thing.
go.
So yeah, so you want to get your butt out here? You got a place to sleep? Just get out there and start digging.
It
Hell
ain't for
yeah.
free, man. You're gonna have to work.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
be
work you.
digging. Yeah.
I'll work you.
I'm rooting for this. I want this to happen.
Chad, have we answered all the questions for the third question? I think we've been pretty thorough about it as a group.
Hmm.
You know.
For sure.
Is this it?
Oh, Mama Mac.
Oh,
Zach, thank you for introducing me to these kind of folks.
Mama
Great
Mac.
setting website. Great.
well, and
Linda
there's,
Bop.
she brings up a good point. These resources are out there, and we need to share them.
Skeins, yes, that'd be great.
What Skeins do?
She's going to come help me. She's bringing tools.
Oh, is she?
She's helping you.
You guys, you know me because bring my tool. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we have Jonathan staying here. So, Skeins, you'll have to tell us when you're planning on staying over, whether before or after, because I think Jonathan is going to stay with us before Sunday through. But, I mean, we'll find you a spot, but we have air mattresses.
Hey, Teresa.
Teresa in the house.
Community gardeners are great. I can't have chickens here, but I do, and my neighbors don't tell on me because I share eggs cheaper.
That's the way to do it.
There you go.
You can always bribe a neighbor. Yeah. Bribe them,
Bribe
them.
their silence with delicious eggs.
Right. And then it's really funny because they get into those eggs and they can never go back to store-bought eggs.
I bet.
Listen, Bill Mollison, who is the godfather of permaculture in the world. He's the one that brought it all together back in the 70s.
Bill
He
Mollison.
made a statement. He said, if you want to start a revolution, plant a garden. If 10% of the people in the United States planted a garden and became food independent, the system would crash. So what Joan's talking about, the chickens, that is literally a subversive act. She is being subversive to the system, and she is fighting the system by doing that. And her neighbors are subversive.
Oh, Joan, were you at the Oklahoma Homesteading Expo? Did your children buy a Father's Day gift for your husband that said, about? I'm telling you, because she's talking about that. And then there was we have cutting boards that say, "Grew a garden, start a revolution."
I said that. She didn't say that.
No, we have it on our phone. Whatever.
You know Bob. You live in Connecticut, Sterling. Do you know Bob? Bob's from Connecticut. You know him?
You know Harvey Dent. You know where Harvey Dent is. You know him? Yeah, I know Bob. He lived across the street from me. He was the mayor of my road.
Yeah. I'm used to small town living. Everybody knows each other, so anyway. It'd be funny if she came back and said yes.
Hit us with the next one, Zach.
Yeah, we gotta
what
get
do you got,
through
brother?
these. You're keeping us up.
Man, I'm
2 hours now.
I'm like 2 hours past my bedtime.
Nope,
wasn't her.
Nope. Oh well.
It was worth a shot.
Listen,
I believe your story.
We got back from Kentucky.
Question number 4. How can we, as a whole, be more open to helping one another to get through the fears of being physically and mentally drained to keep us moving forward?
Kind of goes hand in hand with the last question, I think. But
Sterling, you want to take this? Start with this one.
Goes back to that whole arrows in the quiver type thing where we all just, support each other and prevent any of us from breaking as individuals together. If we stick together, none of us will break.
Right. I think the very first step is normalizing vulnerability. Men are really bad at this.
Women suck at it too.
We internalize it. I'm an alpha. I don't like sharing my emotions, or I didn't used to. I'm pretty comfortable with it now. But we need to normalize we need to normalize the fact that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. We want to create an environment where somebody understands that they aren't alone. If you're in the community, you are not alone. In fact, that's what the never alone on the hat, that Nasrani symbol. As long as you've got community, you're never alone. As long as you're walking with God, you're never alone. And that's what that means. And so I think that's probably the biggest and first thing that we need to do.
Yeah.
Lady Bob, I still want to put a recipe out there right now, but I'll refrain.
Oh, the quail eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've got a Scottish egg recipe that'll knock you off your butt with the quail eggs.
Yeah. Well, if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
That's right. It's not a scat. I think the next thing we can do is actually learn about mental health. All right, like I said, the YouTube universe is full of people talking about physical health. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting something that's talking about physical health. But you don't have a lot of people that A, understand it, and B, talk about it. Right. So we need to learn, and I'm not saying we become experts, but we need to be able to have a conversation about it and understand it, because I'm telling you right now, it's bad enough when times are good, But if things go south, and you know, from a prepper standpoint, if SHTF happens, depression and stress are going to be the biggest killers. They will literally kill people.
Well, and all that bought freeze-dried crap by the bucket that you've stored in that has been loaded with sodium that you don't need and can't eat.
That will destroy your health,
Right.
which will affect you mentally.
Yep, and that's why we
Woof.
freeze dry our farm-grown foods. So
And the next one I came up
Nice.
with was, and I hate the way this is worded. It's the only way I could put it down for it to make sense, is promote self-care. All right. Share ways to manage stress. If you've got a way that is really helpful for you, like I do yoga when my backs and shoulders aren't messed up. I do yoga.
that's a good release. for you.
It's an excellent way to reduce stress. I do stoic meditations type of stuff.
Nice.
It's helped me reduce stress. I do Bible readings. I'm not my witness is not the best every day, but I am a Christian and I am a believer, and so I've gotten back into Bible readings and praying, you know. But share these ways to do it. It may not work for everybody, you know. I know people that won't do yoga because it's borderline satanic. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but I'm just saying.
I was just like,
Bobby Boucher, yoga is the devil.
That's right.
I didn't
Remember
say
that, the water boy?
I'm just like, it's kind of weird, but no, I want to get to this. I think another question is, what about people with chronic disabilities or who are getting up there in age? Then it's important to get your community built.
Right.
Because if you get the right people in the community and you get that built, people are going to understand that. We have seniors.
Right.
In our community, you know, the moms and all that. And we're trying to figure out, okay, so like Hitch's mom, for example. And so we're trying to figure out some stuff, trying to figure out taxes and all that. She's a widow and the taxes are getting heavy and they're a burden.
Mm-hmm.
And so the community is trying to figure that out. And then we have others that are what the government would consider a senior citizen, which absolutely ridiculous. Apparently, over
Right. They try to make
55.
us rely on the government to support the people like this, you know, but if we weren't being squeezed economically and having our wealth stolen from the dollar and being taxed at every avenue and every opportunity and all these vectors of draining us of our resources as communities, we would be able to better sustain each other and help each other to the point where we don't need government to be involved.
Well, what's
We're just losing a lot
ironic
of that with middlemen.
Yeah, and what's ironic, look at the Muslim community. They can keep, 85% of the money that they make in their own community.
It passes.
Or Jewish communities
in
like
Muslim
Lakewood,
communities,
New Jersey.
Yeah.
The dollar will pass through about 8 different hands before the government gets its paws on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
And to talk about what JJ was asking, I think the big thing is we're all going to get older, right? And we're all going to have problems. And it's at that point you start thinking outside the box. All right. Case in point, I was on security forces when I was in the Marine Corps. I did anti-terrorist work. I guarded nuclear and special weapons. I've got a little bit of training. I enjoy the CQB. I enjoy the tactical stuff. I like going out there and shooting my guns and doing all that stuff. I am old and fat. I've got 2 stents in my chest. I've got heart disease.
Kelly, yes.
I've got heart disease. I am not going to go out and I am not going to kick doors in. Let's be completely honest about it. It's not in the plan, you know? So what I have to rethink what I'm capable of doing and what I can do and find the space that I can be a productive member of the community. And Zach, I'm going to tell you this. I am waiting for you to get your ham license because they've got text radio that you can do it, voice synthesizer and all that stuff on the radio.
That would be so cool.
Mean right now.
I am waiting for you to get your ham license because that is something with your mind and everything. You could do that and you would be very successful at it. You know, it's just another means of communications, man. So I'm waiting. I am encouraging you to do that. In fact, if you don't,
That'd be a lot of fun.
I'm going to make fun of you. Plain and
It's
simple.
gonna find
I'm looking in the chat, like they're totally blowing it up. Rebecca, she said something. The seniors are vital, and we find that very, very true here. And so we're in a unique situation that we have the Indian reservation, and so G works for the tribal government. And so the elders do, have some respect, and I'm providing medicine for them.
I went from being a Fed to working for a foreign nation. Just saying.
And so anyway,
from Fed to Farah.
Yeah.
So I make medicine for them, and they're really great at it. But in return, it's really funny. Now I'm making Indian bread. I got to call Hardy and kind of switch that up a little bit, make sure I'm getting it right. And
making me hungry.
The Indian tacos are amazing. And
don't say tacos.
The Indian tacos. And so
with dots or feathers, just
feathers.
Native American taco. Interesting.
This is Native American. And so the elders, I talk to them, and it's really interesting because a lot of the medicine, a lot of the soups, the wedding traditions, the medication, the Indian tacos, all of that, it all comes from the elders. They are so willing to teach that it's unfortunate because a lot of the youngers don't want to listen. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know how. And it's super sad.
Another thing that we can do is, and again, this one sounds so foo-foo and new agey, supportive spaces. Man, if somebody needs a place to get away and just decompress, open your doors. Let them in. Let them come out there. My supportive space is going out in the woods. I enjoy walking the property. Other people,
nice,
not so much. So we can open up our homes to people.
Got something, Zach, you want to say?
In my opinion, we should stop the division that the system puts us in, stop looking at the skin color or physical appearance of one another, stop trying to be above others just to gain on life. We need to build each other up, need to actually work together and make the future better. The way we get past this is ignoring the system and put each other first.
Right.
Boom.
I don't care. I don't care your skin color. I don't care about your abilities. I don't care about what religion you are. All I care about is if you're like-minded.
Night, Linda.
That's all that matters. Become.
Yeah.
We've got it. The key role of community. That.
Are you saying it?
Yes, I'm going to say it. The key role of community. Here's the big one. This will keep you from getting in all kinds of problems. Don't be a dickhead.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Exactly.
Seriously. That will go a long way to keeping your community operating good and bringing people in.
Yeah.
And so many people, it's something that we seem to have lost.
Yeah. People see each other as competition, where they should be looking at each other like the rising tide, raises all ships type scenario. Truth with Tom. It doesn't matter what you look like or what you're able to do. What matters is that you aren't an asshole. That's right. That's right. It's something I've heard Alex Jones talk about, where some people will see somebody who's successful with a nice car and a beautiful wife and they'll hate them and and envy them. It's like the quote with Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood. He's like, I've got a competition in me. I want no other to succeed, and instead of that mindset where we see each other as the enemies that we're competing, we should be raising each other up. So I agree, Zach, 100%, brother. I agree with your idea there.
Well, and the thing is, I think the tricky thing is you never know what's happening behind closed doors. We can always look like we're doing great and everything is good and all that stuff. And so you can be envious of that, but you have no idea what our trials and tribulations are here at home.
True.
And
But
Big
don't be
Ugly,
envious at all. Be like, oh, you got a beautiful wife and a good car. You know, like that's awesome, man. Like I'm happy for you. You know,
I want to
like,
emulate.
legit.
I don't want to be envious of you. I want to emulate you.
Exactly. Role
Can
models.
you
Look up
teach
to
me
them.
how you did it?
You know,
Teach me how you did it.
hey, Big Ugly.
Right.
As far as your comment about liberals, here's the deal. Most liberals, the only thing that differentiates them from you is the fact that they haven't been mugged by reality. So
Oh, yeah.
if we treat them like they're pariahs or we treat them badly, when the time comes that they've had a change of heart, you can't have a conversation with them. You're going to drive them away. Okay, so confession. I turned away friends after the last election. I had people that I was friends with my entire life, and I said, I cannot believe you voted for Biden. You're either extremely stupid or you're corrupt. And I pushed them away. And I really wish I hadn't. Tag made a comment. We were having a conversation about this. Tag from Life Then Free, and he said, I am so glad I did not call those people morons because they have a change of heart. And quite frankly, I can't go back to these people and repair that relationship. I don't know how. I don't know how to repair this relationship. And I know they've had a change of heart. You know,
it's all good. All you got to do is just say you're sorry.
Well,
Sometimes that's all it takes, you know.
It's
to open that
It's
door
not
again.
good that we have something to be sorry about.
It's
I
not
think
that.
it's
It's
the
not
other way
that
around.
easy. It's not that easy. I wish it were. Honestly, you know. But that's you know, we're gonna deal with people that we disagree with all the time. You know, and that's part of the problem. That's quite honestly, that is why we are headed where we are headed. As I say, you learn from each other's strengths. Exactly. One of the problems in this country, and Charlie Kirk talks about this all the time.
You compensate for each other's weaknesses. Sorry, go ahead.
But we've lost the ability to communicate. We've lost the ability to talk to people that disagree with us. And it's on purpose. They've done it. This is something that they've done on purpose.
Since probably 1978.
Well, it's been
longer.
Yeah, longer. You know.
Oh yeah.
So we got one of two choices. Like we open up the lines of dialogue and we try to make things. I don't think we can fix things, but we try to mitigate it and make it so it's not as bad. Right?
Is that going to get through his last question or not?
I don't know. You getting tired?
Kind of. It's 10 o'clock. I still have
got another round?
Yeah. Got another question, Zach?
One more question.
I think we've hit it. I think we hit this one really well.
Was that all of them?
No, you got one more.
Yeah. And I got tamales to go.
Z-Man. This has been fun. It's been nice meeting you guys.
Yeah,
you too. Yeah.
We're going to have to check out your podcast.
Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Question number 5.
Like
what would you say to someone who is nervous about community, but is anxious about turning their physical and mental health around?
Wait,
Just do it.
Can I start this one?
Do it up, brother.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one, the most important thing. Make a decision. Own it. And when things get hard, don't spend your entire life looking over your shoulder back at where you were.
Yep.
All right? That's the number one thing. Make a decision. You know, that's probably the hardest part in the whole process is making that initial decision. No, making the initial decision is hard.
I could see where following that decision and sticking to it could be harder. How many times, like, you literally came in the house and you're like, I hate being a farmer. I don't want to do this. And then how many times did we literally, because we were clashing, we're like, okay, we just need to sell everything, divide everything, and get a divorce. Like, we were there. So, like, seriously, guys, we're being honest with you. Like, this is how bad it is. You know, how rough it can be.
And I got to say this. All the preppers out there, we talk about homesteading. Don't think that you're exempt from this because you guys are on the same spectrum as homesteaders. You guys are just at a different place in your journey.
Right.
And you're
where the lone wolf dies, the pack survives.
But we've all got this little 12-year-old voice that lives right back here.
I don't wanna, I'm done.
Whether you're prepping or you're homesteading, something's going to happen, and that 12-year-old voice is going to go, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to deal with it. Seriously. It's going to happen. You know?
So I'm sorry, Zach. I hope that, you know, our honesty didn't hurt anything you were trying to do, but we just really want to be honest with everybody. And that's what our conversation is about. And we had so many people that were like, I can't believe you're going to give that talk. And we're like, we have to, because we absolutely know there are so many other people striving for the same goal that are going through the same thing.
Right.
And the tribulations will only make you stronger in the end. Like if you bend the stem of many plants, it grows back stronger and develops a bulge in that area. You break your bone, it'll grow back stronger, and you'll be. That's what, you know, like kung fu fighters and stuff. They have these big roller pins that they roll their hands through to create micro fractures in the bones, so that they grow back even stronger, and they can use them as bludgeons. So
the problem is,
if you're nervous, you got to step outside your comfort zone. Right. Yeah. So don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. If you're anxious about the community stuff and anxious about turning your physical and mental health around, make yourself uncomfortable. Do it intentionally. Take the dive, take the plunge. Just do it, man. And it'll make you stronger in the end.
You can do it.
I'm gonna
do it.
I'm gonna say the first step. Take that first step. All right. That is. Every journey starts with one step, and then it's one foot in front of the other. To quote a great
movie,
the fire master from Rudolph, Santa Claus is coming to town.
It's like, what?
The heat miser. Anyway, it's an 80s thing.
Oh, where he was melting the snow.
Okay. So you take
baby
small
steps,
and then you do exactly what Sterling said. You get outside your comfort zone. Case in point. This is a real life example. I was trying to teach somebody how to shoot an AR, and it was not going very successfully.
The husband should not teach their wife.
Yes, gentlemen and ladies, do not try to talk your spouse into doing something. Do not try to teach or be very wary of teaching your spouse something. Have somebody that they trust and respect do it instead of you.
Remember that we have weapons that are loaded in our hands.
Well, I was getting frustrated with her. We were having a range day, and Tag saw that I was getting frustrated. He said, "Hey, go step away, and I'll take over." And within 5 minutes, she had tears running down her face.
Calling Tag an asshole.
And she's calling him all kinds of dirty names. But the whole time that she's doing this, she's pinging steel like she'd been doing it for a long time.
Well, so in between that, what Tag had figured out, what I was frustrated with, is I was trying to shoot. And so he realized my left eye was weak and I needed to, my right eye was it? I can't remember. Like one of my eyes were weak. And so like now I can do it all. But
googly eye.
So he put paper in between my glasses and my eyes so that I couldn't see. And I was like, it was really frustrating because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And then he's like, yes, you can focus. And then once I got over that and I could focus, then I was like, ping, ping, ping. I couldn't do the 265 yards, but I did everything else.
Front sight technique.
Yeah, that's right. You know that the next thing, be open about your feelings. You know, it's okay to tell somebody you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, the problem comes whenever you refuse to step outside your comfort zone. Next thing.
It will make you stronger when you do it.
Exactly. This next one's a big one. And I have a hard time with this one. Set realistic expectations about what you're expecting from community and people. Because here's what's going to happen. You set these lofty goals. I'm going to be part of a community in a year, and you don't make it, you're going to get down on yourself, you're going to get depressed, and you're going to walk away from it. We see this a lot. We have a lot of talks with people at festivals, and they're ready to walk away from building a homestead because things are not going like they thought they would.
Right.
Because
they're frustrated.
Yeah.
They're frustrated. They're fighting. It's bad. But did you see that one? I kind of like Mama Mac. She had, it was Rebecca Snavely. I have both liberal and conservative friends in my circle.
Yeah.
She needs the deck of cards.
Oh, without real law
Yeah.
cards.
That'll wake some people up.
Yeah. Well,
Sounds like fun.
Oh, it's a lot of
the
fun.
next thing, the next thing is be aware of your mental state, and guys do this, women do this too, but guys do it a lot. You know, we take all our emotions and we crumple them up in this little black ball, and we go like this. We go, "Urgh," and we shove it down in the deepest part of our psyche, and it just sits there and it festers, and eventually it pops. All right. So we need to understand whenever we're in a bad place. You know, this is a big one for me. Practice mindfulness. All right. Goes back to what we talked about earlier. Find stress reducing activities. Find things that make you decompress. You know,
Or like I do video games or
There you
watch
go.
TV series. That's not going to work when the power's out, though. So I'm gonna have to
No.
bust out the guitar again.
well, if you're prepping when the lights go out, your lights will be on, right?
True. Good point. Good point. Good point. You just
Hopefully.
might not want to have the lights too bright in case anybody sees them and comes for your
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, we don't worry about that. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We had lights, and then saw
That's
somebody.
good.
The big one for me is stoicism, doing stoic practices, you know, and
Nice.
get the ancient Greek philosophers, you know, Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, you know,
Stoicism.
yeah, do it, you know, don't be a neckbeard about it, but do it and follow through with it, you know, keep a journal, meditate, actually practice negative thinking. You know, envision the bad stuff that can happen to you and how you will respond to it. Right?
Boom. Yeah, that way,
Yeah.
like, nobody freaks out if it's part of the plan. Make sure you have a
Here-
plan for everything.
Right.
Here's the deal. The glass is never half full and it's never half empty. The glass is always full. There is always something in the glass. It may be something you don't want there. You know, it may be air, but there's always something in the glass. Right?
Boom.
So
That's meta.
I'm going to say this twice. Remember that you're not alone. Remember that you're not alone. There are people going out there through the same thing that you're going through. Right? Focus on positivity. We've got this rule around here. Somebody had a fantastic habit of blackpilling people. She would. Somebody. But somebody had a bad habit of
That's not
blackmailing
good.
people and walking away. And
Yeah.
she would come home and tell me about it. I'm like, no, you can't blackpill people and just walk away, leaving them like that. You got to give them something positive. You have to tell them, you know, you have to give them a solution. You have to do something positive. And so
Gotta end the concert with a banger. You know,
exactly.
we are
So
the champions.
That's the rule around here. If we blackpill somebody, we have to give them a solution. You know, and the biggest solution is community. Right?
Yep.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, I've been known to be in a parking lot. I've actually pulled community members in just over their feed bill because I'll have to go get something from the farm store, and then they've got that pile high like we used to do.
Right.
And then it's really funny because she says she's an introvert and doesn't like people, and it was really funny because we're out in the parking lot, happen to be parked next to each other. And I'm telling her, hey, I can save you a crap ton on your feed bill because I saw everything she was loading up there. And so then she was like, I'm intrigued.
Nice.
And now we've been
That's a
friends
good
ever
neighbor.
since. Yeah. Now we've been friends ever since. She's great. Her and her husband, yeah.
And here's the last thing on this part of the list. And this one, I think this one's really important because you want to celebrate your progress. All right. I get called out all the time by community members because I do not feel like I've done everything I should have done by this time. We've got a 5-year plan for this property, and always feel like I'm behind. I always feel like I haven't done what needs to be done.
Because we're almost 3 years
by
into the
this
5-year
point.
plan.
And I have to have community members remind me that, hey, look where you started and look where you are now. And
we are ahead.
And when I say acknowledge and celebrate your progress, I'm not talking about being prideful about it. All right, we need to have some humility. That we have to we have to be willing to say, hey, I did this.
Right.
I moved 200.
Finding satisfaction.
Oh, excellent. That's an excellent way to put it.
Well, but
Finding satisfaction in your accomplishments.
I think where you also
Boom.
have a hard time is that you were Wentworth Military School and then Marine Corps, and he's not open to taking that, hey, I did this, or hey, I need help, and that's been a real struggle for you too.
Well, and that's that's pridefulness. It really is. It's a matter of pridefulness.
But let's put that out there, because that's a thing.
We need
Definitely
to
trained into you.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, we've got a text message group that the community's on, and I turned off notifications because it's so active and people talking about their accomplishments. It's just, I think
Nice.
last time I checked, there were 263 unread messages that I got to go through on that chat.
Nice productive community. It's badass.
Yeah.
Ooh, Zach, what you got, brother?
For me, if people around me are nervous about joining community, but they are wanting to change their life for the good, I want to help them realize that they are a bigger part of God's plan. I was born dead for 27 minutes, I shouldn't be able to do what I am doing, but God wanted me to help others overcome their fears and thrive, I believe. So no matter what life throws at you, you can always make a step that makes a difference in this beautiful life.
Amen.
100%.
Amen.
100%. There's always good stuff you can do. There's always endless opportunities in the future. Existence is infinite. There's always something to look forward to, something of value that you can provide or find if you need to find a reason to continue going forward. Hope is always out there in ample quantities. All you got to do is find it.
And I'll say this from a prepping standpoint, okay? Our job, the fact that we're having this conversation, right? We understand what we may be going through in the near future, all right? Our job is to prep the battlefield. In the military, prepping the battlefield is making things so they're advantageous to us in the future, right? So that our job is to prep the battlefield, because if something happens, everything goes sideways. The infrastructure falls apart, World War, whatever. There's going to be a lot of people that are going through a lot of mental problems, right? And we need to be able to react to them and be able to help them,
Definitely.
So.
Definitely. Communities are key.
Yeah.
Glad that people are banding together here and there.
Yes, absolutely.
Z-Man.
Any final thoughts about tonight's discussion?
Angela?
It's been a lot of fun and definitely learned a lot. And I think there's been a lot of good perspectives. And you guys were thoroughly prepared at Grumpy Acres. Lots of good points. And
It's our
thank
life.
you.
Well,
Thanks for all the information. And Zach, thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun, brother. It's nice to meet you.
Sterling, to be honest, I again, we are a reflection of the people that we surround ourselves with. Tag is probably the most prepared person when he goes into these things, and I've learned from him.
Well, we have to speak a lot too, so we kind of got that. But this subject is really funny, or interesting, not funny, but
well, it's providential.
Yeah, we have Self-Reliance Festival and Prepper Expo that we have to actually have this conversation. We're going to be speaking on exiting the system. So
Providence is on our side for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I think there's a lot of people watching, trying to figure it out and what they want to do. And so if we can't reach them at Self-Reliance Festival and we don't reach them at Kiowa Expo, we did it here. So I think that's fantastic. And
Boom.
so one of the things I like to do, you said any ideas on the conversation, but I don't know, because I'll probably go ahead and check out. I've got more tamales that I need to wrap, and it's 10:30. So I'm going to say until next time, be at least 1% better than you were today, tomorrow.
Boom. And I'll say my 8X great grandfather was Major General Lord Sterling in the Revolutionary War, and he fought with Washington, who believed that divine providence was on our side. And so you mentioned providence, this being providential. That's another thing for us to remember when we need hope, when we need inspiration. Providence is on our side. We're on the right side of history. Individual liberty is the future, not the past, and we can work together to create pockets of freedom, to keep it going, and bastions of liberty and individual responsibility that we can preserve for posterity. And so,
absolutely,
just keep working towards doing that. So, thanks for all the information. It's been a lot of fun.
And I'll say this, everybody in chat, you've got some homework. Here's your homework. Oh, hey, G. Homestead. Hey, how's it going? She was at Kentucky Sustainable Living, and she was handing out these 550 cord bracelets.
Nice.
That's cool. But here's your homework.
Never know when you might need some of that.
Absolutely. If you're looking at building community, go out and take that first step. Start the conversation with somebody. All right. If you're already working on a community or any of the stuff that all of us talked about tonight is helpful, share it with somebody. Share what you get here. We are not here to teach people. We are not teachers. We are here to share our experiences and lift everybody up. So, and that's our job. That is, as more experienced people in the community, that is our job. And we pass it on and we share it with everybody else. So, and that's part and parcel of pursuing a life done free.
Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry.
Go. You want to? She's over here eyeballing her tamales.
It's like, I don't know if they're sad, and I got to figure all that stuff out.
Okay, out of context, that sounded kind of dirty, didn't it?
Get your mind out of the gutter. Where's Mandy J. Lawson?
Sounds kind of dirty. Checking out your tamales.
I'm a chef.
Hot
so
tamale.
Sure what you meant by that.
She's tired.
Hot tamales.
That went right over her head. I really enjoyed this, Zach. Lord Sterling, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
If anybody wants to contact us, our email is on our About page on our YouTube channel. Feel free, if you've got any questions, feel free to email us, and we'll do our best to respond.
Same here. I'm at _common censored on X. DMs are open. If anybody wants to get a hold of me there, you can also hit us up on Discord. We have a commoncensoredshow@gmail.com, but the best, quickest way to get a hold of me is through X at _common censored. If for some reason you want to reach out, I'm responsive. And if you want, feel free to join our show Monday through Friday, 6:30-ish Eastern time, Common Censored. And thanks, Zach, so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Great meeting you, brother. And same with you guys, Grumpy and Master Yoda.
Yeah.
The force is strong with you.
Bring eggs, she will.
Bring eggs, she will.
Yeah.
Man, my Yoda's all messed up right now. I sound terrible. Usually I have a decent impression.
Can't
My
mess
Mac
up Yoda
knows.
any worse than Disney did, brother.
They did worse to Luke, though.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking blue milk.
Okay.
Creepy stuff.
Since we're kind of squirreling right now, Nick Freitas did an interview with Nerdrotic, who does
Nerdrotic's great, Gary.
Yeah. Okay. So Nick Freitas had a conversation with him today. You probably ought to go check it out because it is very insightful and it's very funny.
How do you spell Freitas, Nick?
Yeah, Nick Freitas. He's Making the Argument is the name of the channel. Making the Argument.
Thanks. Boom. Got it. The guy destroying woke Hollywood.
It's exactly what the topic
Video
is.
from yesterday. Boom. Got it. I'm gonna watch it. Thanks for the info. Yeah, I like Nerdrotic. I'm not familiar with Nick Freitas. Surprisingly.
He's a former special forces, and he's a member of the Virginia House of Delegates.
Oh wow.
And he's very conservative and very pro freedom.
Are you guys
nice? It's the way to be.
And he's a homesteader and a former prepper.
Freedom. It's the way to go. I think
What
I've
you
heard
got,
of him
Zach?
before. The name definitely sounds familiar. What you got, brother? My Yoda is broken, JJ. That's right.
Oh, and everybody in chat, you guys make it worthwhile. Seriously, you guys
Likewise.
make this all worthwhile.
I think my Vader's probably still intact, though. Join the dark side.
You know that Star Wars is nothing but a rehash of Kurosawa's Hidden Castle, right?
Oh yeah, lots of stuff. The comedic duo, with all these archetypes, Campbellian, hero with 1,000 faces, hero's journey, Luke Skywalker, the dragon hoarding gold and maiden, Jabba the Hutt with 3PO and Leia on a chain, all kinds of stuff. What you got, Zach?
I just want to end this live with I just want people to understand that we have hope and gain for the future. Yes, we get down in the dumps sometimes, but we should have people who lift us up. With that, I love you, my community, and until next time, prep the unique out of it. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born. Matthew 26:24 NIV.
Thanks, Zach.
Excellent way to finish it.
Snap.
And I got to get into some Kurosawa. That's been on my list for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.